So this article just came out at Variety.com. It's an interview with Nicolas Cage in which he defends his video on demand film era, claiming I did some of the best work of my life in that period. And we're going to dive in today to his IMDb page, and we're going to talk about that claim in its entirety. Because love him or hate him, Nick Cage has done a lot of movies, and I'm of the camp that he's a really awesome character actor and should not be mocked. But we're gonna, we're gonna dive in. I'll love to hear your guys' opinions as we go along. If this is your first time here, welcome aboard. Hopefully you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, all those good things so you get more videos like this delivered to you when I go live. I stream every day from 7 a.m. Central to noon Central. There's a Discord channel with a gaming community. All the relevant links are below. Let's head back over to this article here and talk about this. So, I am a big, big, big Nicolas Cage fan. Like, I love Cage, and I think that he does a lot of really good work. I also think that he has put out a really lot, kind of a lot of really shitty movies, but I don't think that that has anything to do with his talent as an actor. And in the interview, he actually talks about that, which we will dive into here in a minute. But I think that if you look at any actor who has a big body of work and who likes to be busy, there's a quote. I think it's from this recent film that he's got going around, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent film. I think there's a quote in there where he's parodying himself about, if it's any other industry, hard work is lauded, it's appraised. We're all applauding the person for working hard. But if you're an actor and you're working hard, it's like, oh, you're a hack. You're doing direct to video. You're not being selective. And it's a very interesting thing because that's not wrong in the sense that if an actor is doing too much, because the quote goes on to say something like, cause some scarcity, Cage, make him want to see you more, Cage, create that drought, Cage, and the reality is that when you look at it from an agent's perspective and everything else, and if you're wanting to get really big paychecks, um, there's something to that. But I also think that if you're someone like Nick Cage, who is built to be an actor, and that's the only thing you want to do, and the only thing you're passionate about doing, and everything else is nothing compared to that. Um, Maybe you have OCD. Maybe there's a lot of factors in here because if you look at his personal life outside of being an actor, it's a bit of a train wreck. He's had multiple marriages, all of them have failed. He's had a lot of issues with alcoholism and getting kicked out of restaurants and arrested and some other stuff. The guy definitely has issues, I would say, if he's not busy. And that's the thing. Like, he just has to stay busy because if he stays busy, he stays out of trouble. And I think he knows that because he has sort of, not in this interview, but in other interviews, he's talked about, hey, if I'm not busy, I'm not in a good place if I'm not busy. But it also brings to mind, oh, it's one of the guy who was in Kung Fu, and I'm gonna look up his name. David Carradine, because David Carradine was also a character actor who did a lot of stuff and stayed extremely busy up until his death. And even there were films that came out after his death. And yeah, throughout his life, Carradine was arrested and prosecuted for a variety of offenses, which often involved substance abuse. And he died basically of, as I remember correctly, of auto asphyxiation in. I'm gonna scroll down here. Um, Personal life, does it say here? At 72, found dead in his room at a hotel in Bangkok, shooting his latest film. He was found naked, hanging by a rope. Uh, Two autopsies were conducted. Both concluded the death was not a suicide. Became widely accepted as accidental asphyxiation. So, in other words, I'm a 17-year-old dude, and the only way I can get off is getting hung and choked while I'm having sex, and the prostitute was like, "Oh my God, he died," and bailed. Which, fine, whatever. I unfortunately I feel like Nick Cage is on that same path as David Carradine of just being a guy who, if he's not acting, he gets in trouble, and so hopefully he stays busy because that keeps him out of trouble. And his IMDb page is full of stuff and continues to be full of stuff. So, but I digress. Let's dive in here. This article came out on April 18th, which is today actually. And let's see here. He's won an Oscar, and this is what I don't get. He's a string of theatrical flops starting around 2014, including the duds such as Sorcerer's Apprentice and Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance, and his career pivoted almost exclusively to video-on-demand titles like The Runner, Pay the Ghost, The Trust, and more. But anyone who claimed Cage didn't care about his career during that era was wrong. By the way, if you haven't watched The Sorcerer's Apprentice, chef's kiss. That movie is freaking amazing, and I challenge anybody to find flaws in that film because it's a fun Disney movie. It's a kids film. It's so good. It's like Cage at his best, and it was really unfortunate that it flopped. It's kind of like a John Carter type of thing where it just perfect storm of reasons why the movie didn't do well, but it's highly, highly recommended that you go watch it. So Cage recently told Rolling Stone, people thought I didn't care. I did. I was caring. I think that I did some of my best work in that so-called direct-to-video period. The Massive Talent was in that group. Mandy was in that group. By the way, Mandy's a great film. Pig was in that group. Pig is also a great film. Bad Lieutenant, Port of New Orleans, also a great film. Joe, a great film. Mom and Dad, a great film. Color of Space, a great film. All of these films were direct to video. And The Runner, I thought that was terrific. He says, I will put any of those movies up against the first 30 years. If there is a misconception, it's perhaps overlooking that there's a genuine commitment to performance. Cage went on to call acting in VOD movies the best workshop, the best acting class I could have. I think it was really practice. I felt it made it so much easier for me to access my emotional content or my imagination. It was at my fingertips because of the training and the constant work. He says, to answer your question, I think it would be a misconception in my view about people assuming he didn't care about his VOD movies. But then again, all art is subjective. People are open to their opinions and their interpretations. Wherever they want to take from it, they're not wrong. So he's basically admitting I was very, very busy, but people who don't think that I wasn't giving those performances my all, you're crazy. I was. And I'd like to jump over to his IMDb page for a minute because despite all of those really good films that he mentioned, which were very good films, direct to video, there's also a lot of these that were really bad. That's not to say that Nic Cage's performance was bad, because if you've ever watched these films, his performance was often the saving grace in these films. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. Prisoners of the Ghostland. I just this was a horrible, horrible, horrible film apart from Nic Cage's performance. Also, Jujitsu, which I really, really, really wanted to love because it's got Frank. What is his name? Frank Grillo. Grillo. I always forget his name in it. I think he's in this a little bit. Anyway, I really, 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 really wanted to watch this, or really wanted to like this. Yeah, Frank Grillo's in this movie. Is it Grillo or Grillo? I don't really know. But another guy who does a lot of direct video work, who also stays busy, also takes really good care of himself physically, and is in really good shape for his age, and lives on direct video films, and they make good money. And Nic Cage, by the way, has continued to make good movie. I don't know if it's in this interview or in the Rolling Stones interview because I haven't dug through that completely yet. But I remember at one point they were talking about even during his direct to video career, when he was doing all of those all the time, Cage was still making in the ballpark of like $40 million a year. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but 30 to 40 million a year starring in all these movies because he's getting paid several $1 million per film and doing, five, six, seven films per year. It's a ridiculous pace. It of course did happen during the middle of which reports surfaced that he blew $150 million and owed the IRS $6.3 million in property tax. He did tell GQ magazine last month that he took on so many VODs initially in order to get out of debt, but he maintained that he still cared about every single role. He says, when I was doing 4 movies a year back to back to back, I still had to find something in them to be able to give it my all. They didn't work, all of them. Some of them were terrific, like Mandy, but some of them didn't work. But I never phoned it in. So if there was a misconception, it was that I was just doing it and not caring. I was caring. GQ reported that Cage had officially finished paying all of his debts a year and a half ago after signing to star in the unburial weight of massive talent. So he's apparently finally out of that debt and he's got all that paid off, which is awesome. I would love for Hollywood to give Nick Cage another shot. And it looks like, at least recently, because like with Pig being so good and a string of really good performances like Mandy, Color of Space. Oh, by the way, was there a film in here that wasn't talked about? Like I think it's called Dark. Where's it at? Dark. This film also really good movie. Um, there's just some really good films in here. That might not be the one I'm thinking about actually, but Mandy's in here. Oh, Army of One. Left Behind, yeah, that was not that good. The Ghost Rider was not that good either. Seeking Justice, Striving, Season of the Witch, that was a great film that came out right after Sorcerer's Apprentice. Kick Ass, of course, great film. Knowing, I love that movie. Next, also a good movie. Um, I would love to see big studios give Nick Cage a chance to come back, and it may happen after the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent because that film is basically kind of has rejuvenated Nick Cage in the eyes of Hollywood, and it's being passed around as award worthy, and it's him back at the top of his game, and also he's paid off all his debt, so now people are looking at him like, oh, now maybe you'll be a little more selective, which I don't think he will be. I think he's still going to continue to do all these movies because of the aforementioned reasons of needing to stay busy. I love Nick Cage. I try to watch everything he does. Not all of it's good. There's been a couple of films that I wasn't able to finish because there's like, including the Jujitsu and where did it go? Prisoners of the Ghost Lane. I just couldn't finish those films. It was they just weren't that good. But his parts were fun. Love to hear your thoughts. Comments below, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, all those good things. Join our Discord, hang out with us, come play games with us. And don't forget, I stream every morning 7 a.m. to noon Central Time. And if you would like to support the channel, which I hope you do, I hope you like the content enough to want to help out, pitch in, because, we ain't getting the bills paid with just sheer advertising money from YouTube. You can join as a member here, or you can head over to the Patreon page for This World Behind Me, which is the world we'll leave in the void. It's made by the Wandering Hermits, who are myself, my brother, and my wife. It's patreon.com/wandering hermits, and there you can find everything about that world, which is a 5th edition tabletop setting. The books are coming out in June, the digital versions. We're starting the live stream campaigns on Twitch. Kickstarter for hardback books are coming in July and August, and we also have a book series with chapters being published twice a month on the Patreon. And of course, if you like point and click games, there's a demo available now that you can download. It's a lot like King's Quest, and the full game is out later this year. Everything's being done through the Patreon, so go over there, support, pre-order, all those good things. See you in Discord, see you in Patreon, and in the next video. Hopefully we'll see you in a stream tomorrow morning. Until next time, stay safe, everybody. Go watch some Nick Cage. It's worth it, I promise.